It's 11:47 p.m., your eyes are literally burning. You are physically exhausted, but your thumb just keeps moving. You're doing exactly what you swore you wouldn't do tonight. Again, you probably think you're just lazy. You think you lack discipline. But what's happening right now isn't a lack of willpower. Your brain is executing a flawless survival program, and it's going to destroy your life. Every self-help guru on the internet tells you to just build discipline. They tell you to wake up at 5 a.m., take ice baths, and force yourself to be productive. They don't understand how your mind actually works. Because if you understood what was happening beneath the hood, you would stop blaming yourself. You would realize that you are fighting an evolutionary machine designed to keep you alive. To understand why you can't stop, you have to look at energy. Your brain is an absolute energy hog. It makes up barely 2% of your body weight, but it burns a massive 20% of your daily calories. From an evolutionary standpoint, thinking is physically dangerous. Thinking burns glucose. Glucose you might need to run away from a predator. If you had to consciously think about every single action, how to tie your shoes, how to walk, how to chew your food, you would exhaust yourself before you even ate breakfast. So, your brain created a genius shortcut. It's a primitive structure deep in the center called the basal ganglia. Think of it as the brain's autopilot department. When you repeat an action enough times, your conscious mind starts to power down. It hands the keys over to the basal ganglia. Neuroscientists call this chunking. The entire sequence of behaviors becomes one single automated chunk. This is why you can drive home from work and suddenly realize you don't remember the last 5 miles. Your brain literally went to sleep. Your basal ganglia drove the car for you. It is a brilliant mechanism for saving energy. But there is a life-ruining catch. The basal ganglia does not have a moral compass. It cannot tell the difference between a habit that makes you rich and a habit that destroys you. It only cares about one single thing: efficiency. Look at the famous case of Eugene Polly. A virus completely destroyed his hippocampus. He lost the ability to form new conscious memories. Eugene could not remember his own living room, but every single morning he would get out of bed, walk to the kitchen, and make breakfast. He couldn't tell you where the kitchen was, but if he was hungry, his body just walked there automatically. His habits were stored entirely in the basal ganglia, which the virus hadn't touched. This proves that habits don't need your conscious mind. They survive long after your willpower has failed, but efficiency alone isn't enough to start a habit. You need a catalyst to trigger the sequence. You need dopamine. Now, forget everything you've been told about dopamine. Every productivity guru tells you it's the pleasure chemical. They are completely wrong. Dopamine is not about pleasure. It is about anticipation. In a famous 1998 experiment, scientists put monkeys in a chair. They turned on a light and a few seconds later gave the monkey sweet juice. At first, the dopamine spiked when the monkey got the juice. But after a few repetitions, the dopamine spiked when the light turned on. And when the juice actually arrived, the dopamine dropped. The pleasure wasn't in the reward. It was entirely in the craving. This is exactly why you are trapped. Your brain doesn't actually want the endless scrolling. It doesn't even want the junk food. It wants the massive dopamine spike that comes right before it. It's the promise of relief that your brain is addicted to. When you feel stressed, your brain scans for the fastest escape route. It remembers that last time you scrolled on your phone for 3 hours. Boom, the craving hits like a freight train, and suddenly you are just a passenger in your own body. Modern tech companies understand this better than you do. They have weaponized your own biology against you. Social media engineers literally use variable ratio schedules. The pull to refresh motion is functionally identical to pulling a slot machine lever. You don't know what you're going to get. It might be nothing. It might be outrage. It might be validation. That unpredictability sends your dopamine system into overdrive. They didn't just build an app. They built a casino inside your pocket. Now, forget the science for a second, because there is something much darker keeping you stuck. something that goes deeper than dopamine. Let's say you decide to finally quit your bad habit. You throw away your stash. You block the apps. You are motivated. Day 1 is easy. Day 2 is hard, but you push through. Day 5 comes around and you feel a deep physical panic. And eventually you cave. You tell yourself, just this once. Why did your willpower just evaporate into thin air? Because of your identity. We act in accordance with who we believe we are. This is a psychological trap called cognitive dissonance. If you believe deep down that you are a scroller trying to quit, every time you resist your phone, you are making a massive sacrifice. You are denying yourself something that you believe is a fundamental part of you. This creates massive cognitive friction. It burns energy, and your brain hates burning energy. But if you fundamentally shift your identity, if you believe down to your bones, I am not someone who does this, resisting requires absolutely zero energy, because it's not a choice anymore. It's just a fact. When you try to break a habit, your brain literally perceives it as a threat to its existence. It fights back desperately to protect the you it knows. So how do you actually escape this trap? You stop fighting your brain. You stop relying on willpower, which depletes every hour of the day. Instead, you use the friction equation. If your brain wants efficiency, make the bad habit incredibly inefficient. If you want to stop scrolling in bed, don't just tell yourself I won't do it. Put your phone charger in the cold kitchen. Now, to scroll in bed, you have to physically get out of your warm blankets. Walk all the way down the cold hallway, unplug it, and walk back. That is friction. Your basal ganglia utterly hates friction. Suddenly, just going to sleep seems like the much more efficient option. Conversely, you must make the good habit completely frictionless. Make the path of least resistance lead exactly where you want to go. But there's one final rule you cannot break. You cannot just delete a bad habit. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you rip a habit out of your brain, it leaves a gaping neurological hole. Your brain will scramble to fill it, usually with something far worse. You have to replace it deliberately. You can't change the cue. Stress is going to happen. You can't change the craving. You will inevitably want relief. You can only change the routine. When the stress hits, you must insert a completely new routine. At first, it will feel awful. Your brain will literally scream at you. But every single time you do it, you carve a new neural pathway. And eventually, the old pathway begins to fade away. Breaking a bad habit isn't a one-time event. It's a slow, messy process of rewiring your own hardware. Your brain is going to fight you tooth and nail. It's going to deeply crave the old efficiency. Let it. Understand what's happening beneath the hood. It's not you. It's just the programming. And the beautiful thing about programming is that it can always be rewritten. Anyway, I'm collecting donations in the form of subscribes to fund the next video.